Hello again there, my good YouTubers. This is another video in line with my introduction to Gentoo and how-tos for Gentoo. Today, or in this video, we're going to be talking about the package keywords file in Gentoo, its importance and what it actually is. The package keywords file is pretty much as it says on the tin. It's a configuration file that lists packages with the keywords. Now, what do we mean by keywords in Gentoo? We mean that keywords are what a package has as a flag for its architecture. What kind of system or CPU is the package going to run on? In some cases, the package will, be built for a PPC, for a 32-bit x86 machine. It could be a 64-bit, which in many cases it is, for most users today, it's a 64-bit x86. And what defines the package in these different formats is the keyword, or a keyword that we put on after the package. And the package keywords file is exactly that. If we take a look in here, we have, let's say for instance this here, which is Media Video Kdenlive. Now, Kdenlive is stable on all platforms on specific versions, but on some versions, as in the more later versions, they are unstable. On, let's say for instance a 32-bit, but they could be stable on a 64-bit, or they could be unstable on a 64-bit but stable on a 32-bit. In cases like this, where instabilities are a problem or an issue, let's call it an issue rather more than a problem, then what we need to do is we need to allow the emerge portage to compile the program only and specifically only for the architecture that you're going to be running it on, which means that it's going to be the most stable on your current architecture, and any further issues that you get with the program you can either report to upstream or fix them yourself. But you know that the program is creating an issue. If you're running it on a 64-bit like I am, then you know it's going to be causing an issue with the 64-bit. The way we do this is obviously list it in the package keywords, which as you can see here we have Media Video Kdenlive. Then we have a little approximation squiggly, horizontal fallen over sort of S looking thing, which you can find on your keyboard, whichever version of keyboard you're using, whether it be QWERTY or a German layout, or even like with myself, I've got a Dvorak layout, which means that my sign's going to be right at the top, on the top left corner. But basically we put that there, which denotes that it is going to follow, the architecture is going to follow. So the little squiggly line indicates that we are enabling Media Video Kdenlive with AMD 64-bit architecture, which of course, like in the previous video, we were talking about x86_64 and AMD 64, and the reason for that was obviously that AMD brought the commercial PC desktop CPUs in 64-bit to the market first, so the naming convention became AMD 64. That's the only reason that's there. So if you have an Intel 64-bit, then you'll be using AMD 64 as the keyword. So basically that's what it is. And what this has done is this now tells Portage, or the emerge portage package management program, that it is perfectly okay to download, compile and install any package that's listed in here that is 64-bit capable, that's in the portage tree to its latest version. Now it could be, remember in here that it could be an unstable package that is listed by the AMD 64, but it's liable to be incredibly stable because you're only bringing it down for use on the 64-bit platform. If you leave this out, let's say for instance I removed this entire media video Kdenlive whatever and then tried to portage, merge Kdenlive, it would drop from the version that it's currently had installed because of this down to a version that is known to be completely stable across architectures. So this is a way of getting, in a sense, the bleeding edge versions onto your computer so you can install the latest possible versions of the application. So this is what this is. So this package keywords, it's not particularly an unmasking, which we'll talk about in a later video. I want to go into masked packages or portage, package.mask and package.unmask. We've also got package.use, and I'll be covering those other three configuration files in later videos. But for the completeness of this video, you have to understand that this is actually not unmasking a package. You're pretty much, what you're doing is you are allowing Portage to download and install this program on the proviso that it is 64-bit capable. If it is hard masked for 64-bit, basically that means that if you were to install the 64-bit version of Kdenlive at the moment, then it would break, it just wouldn't work because there's some serious bug in there. Then it goes into what we call the package mask, which is where it gets masked, and there's to install that you actually have to physically unmask the package, which is part of the further videos that will follow regarding package mask and package unmask. But for the purpose of this video, as I say, that's just for the completeness of it. Now, furthermore, with this file, we have more advanced features that we can actually do in this file. Not just stating like a package, like for instance here we've got the development utility Android development kit. Obviously, I've enabled it because it's going to be run on an AMD 64-bit. Computer or architecture, so therefore Portage will bring this through for AMD 64. We can then follow further down, and we've got some interesting stuff further going here. Like, let's just look at this one here. This is the Png Graphics Library, which obviously works and loads your portable network graphics files. Which are quite very common on through the internet web pages and so on and so forth. So we have this media libs here, which is the location of the package, and then libpng. But after it, look, notice how up above here we don't have any version numbers at the end. It's like, for instance, we've got netprint hplib, and then it just literally, and this is obviously the Hewlett-Packard printing control panel, but you see how it's no version to it. It just goes straight into the architecture straight after it. In this case here, we now have a version number. So in my case, it's 1.6.3-R1. Well, with this, if we had it and we didn't have anything in front of it, which is, in my case, we have an equal sign in front of it, which is what we're talking about at the moment. This equal sign and this version number, okay, these are very relevant. They go together. If you don't have a version number after here, you don't put anything in front of it, very much like what we've got above on the top there. In this version, we have an equal sign, and then the version number, then the architecture, which is the AMD 64. Now what this does, this equal sign, it means that you are specifying that only that particular version of the program to be installed with the AMD 64 architecture. So you want that, only that version to be specified with the keyword. Now, the benefit of this is that sometimes when you've got a package that is, let's say for instance, in development, it's not quite stable fully yet, it hasn't been put into the normal portage tree, you only want to allow that package through with its keyword while it's on that version. Then when the version increases and you get the next version up, for instance, it goes to R2, or let's say 1.6.4, then that will be put into the rsync of the portage, and it will ignore this. So this effectively, once this package is upgraded, this line here effectively becomes obsolete. Because it's only equaling that version. And when the next version comes out and it's going to be put into a stable portage, then portage will basically just install the newer version. So this is a very, very handy feature for particularly selecting individual versions of packages. Now we have some exciting other stuff that we can do instead of using equals. Well, we use equals as well, but we can use something else, and that is, for instance, a little arrow like this. Now what this is saying to emerge now is that every version that is equal to or greater than 1.6.3 then can be installed, whether it's stable or unstable. It will then be installed. Remember, this does not affect package masking. If a package just doesn't work, it's going to be put into package masked. So it's going to be a masked package. So therefore, this is going to be put into a package that's known to compile and known to run, but may have issues. So this then basically means that it's equal to or greater than the current version that you specify. If I removed the equals and just left it like that, with just an arrow, it basically means that any version that is going to be greater than 1.6.3, so it could have an R2 here, then that's going to be installed, if that's available. With it being this current version is not going to be installed. It needs a version, with this arrow like this, it needs a version higher than. So what this basically means is very much like mathematics. It is higher than, or it would be, with the equal sign, it would be equal to, which is there. So we have equal to or higher than, or equal to the current version, or we can actually go before here and put less than. So we now have the options to say either equal to or less than this version. So it can actually now, let's say for instance, install a 1.6.3 without the R1, and that would be fine if it's available, or it would install the one that it's equal to. We can also take the equal sign away so that this version will not be installed, and every version below 1.6.3 will be pulled in by portage and installed. So as you can see, the signs of equal than or greater than, which is basically, a stupid, if you think about it, a stupid statement would be this, in regards to, putting it in front of it. If you were to put this, you're saying that any version lower than, equal than, or greater than should be installed. Well, what's the point of actually putting that in there? Because you're not actually doing anything. So something like that would be silly. If you wanted to just enable everything equal to or greater than, then that would be a sensible sign. If you wanted to enable everything equal to and less than the version, then that would be a good sign. So things like that, as you can quite easily understand, the symbols we put in front, whether it be a left facing arrow, a right facing arrow, or the equal sign plus its version, can define exactly and really customize the exact point of what package you want to install into the system based on the architecture's keyword. And this is what this is, AMD 64. It's the 64-bit architecture of that particular package. So this is exactly what package keywords file actually is. There's nothing intensely complicated about it. It's just obviously getting your head around the the two particular elements that are there, and obviously my keywords file actually has some good elements here to point out, one with a version and one which doesn't have a version in front of it, for instance, so I can allow the packages of 64-bit or AMD 64 that have that keyword in their packages to be installed on my system, either with a version, to a version, and as we spoke about between the you can manipulate greater than or less than or equal to to the version, or basically no version at all. No version at all, obviously, as I say, is it takes the latest package, or the highest version of the package. When there's no version, it takes the highest version of the package, provided it is not masked. Sometimes you'll see that it goes up to the highest level of the package, and then and I think for Kdenlive, I think that's 0.94 or 0.96, I think, at the moment. It'll take to that highest version of package, but if there's a problem with the package, upstream may have masked the package. So it'll go up to 0.94, for instance, because 0.96 is masked. So if you want to install 0.96, you will then have to use the package unmask files, which we'll talk about in a later video. But yes, I think that covers pretty much everything that you need to know about package keywords in the Gentoo system. Again, it's not humongously complicated. I suppose one little hint that we've got here, which I don't think we spoke about, I think we spoke about it in the previous video a little bit, is these little hash marks in front of things. These are what we call comments. And you may hear a lot of people on forums and whatever talk about commenting a line out. Well, this is what this means. We put this little hash sign in, and everything that follows, the whole line that follows the hash sign, basically means that whether it be a compiler or whether it be portage, in this case it'll be obviously emerge, package management and portage, they will ignore the line. So if I double enter here and then I basically put a hash mark and then I say I can type anything here and it don't matter, okay, because this line now it doesn't matter, the portage will ignore it because I've got this. Now if I took this out and then saved the file and ran emerge, it would complain. It wouldn't know what on earth this line is because it doesn't add up to anything. It's not got any package to it, it's not got any keyword at the end of it, it's not actually telling emerge to do anything, so it would error on this because it's a comment. So therefore that's what we mean by a comment and commenting out a line. So that's why we put a hash in front of it. Same as, let's say for instance I wanted to comment out the latest version of Firefox for 64-bit, I would do that. Now the emerge portage would completely ignore that line there. It would see it as just a load of text that I've put in there, or a comment or whatever. And that's basically what that means. But I don't want to do that because I'm running the Firefox version 27 at the moment, and that's what that's brought in. Otherwise, if I left it like this, it would fall back to Firefox version 24. 24 is the is the stable one across all platforms at the moment, and that's what's pulled in by portage as standard. if you want version 27 of Firefox as of the current time that I've obviously made this video, then you have to put the keyword in of AMD64 to be able to pull down that version for your architecture. If you've got 32-bit, you would put obviously x86. It would be at the end here, and that would well, I'm not sure what version that would bring down, to be honest with you. Don't know whether it'd be back to 24 or 26 or whatever it'd be. I'm not sure whether it would pull down 27. Don't know whether it's stable on the 32-bit platform. But basically that's the situation. So I'm going to remove that little hash mark there, because you know I don't need it. As for this line here, it was just put in there for explanation purposes for you to understand what I mean by it. And that is it. That is the entire, and as complicated as it gets in the package keywords. Remember that Gentoo is a system that gives you control, and this is just another configuration file that you use to control what you want, how you want it, and whichever way you want to get things installed in the system, or whether you need to fix a problem, because sometimes packages need specific versions. Like for instance here, you know, there could be that GIMP wanted the specific version of libpng so it could operate, and hence the reason why this is here. Not saying that that is why it is, we're just hypothetically speaking, of course, but that is generally the idea. So when something is stable with a particular version of file, you need to, you know, you can use these configuration files, such as the package keywords, to make sure that that is the package that is selected, pulled in, and installed with the program to maintain 1, stability, 2, version control, and 3, whatever it is that you want to do. It's you know, Gentoo is built around you making the choice, rather than, you know, a developer or Microsoft or some other large corporation making the choice for you. You have the choice to choose what you want and how you want it to install and be configured. So yes, anyway, thank you my good YouTubers. I think that is all we can cover for package keywords on this video. Stay tuned. We've got obviously package.mask, package.unmask, and an exciting file called package.use. Those are videos further to come, and we've got other ones I'm going to be bringing to you about actually making your own e-builds, including how to manage e-builds, which is the packages that and how the keywords entirely of this thing actually work. So stay tuned, and I shall speak to you soon. Thank you very much indeed, my good YouTubers. Like, subscribe if you wish, and yeah, I look forward to you know, reading your comments and speaking to you soon. Thanks a lot, and catch you soon.